Hi, my name is Don Roy. I'm the Missions Administrator and Director for Western Europe for Overseas Instruction and Counseling. We go around the world teaching churches and strengthening them in the aspect of biblical counseling. And people ask oftentimes, what is biblical counseling? My answer to that is simply, in many ways, it's practical theology. It's discipleship, where we come alongside as believers who are in need of change, helping others who are in need of change. It's personally applied theology so that when people are struggling with issues of life, that we can show them what the scriptures say about how it is that they can respond, how they can understand God's sovereignty over these circumstances, and how they can glorify God in these circumstances. A simple definition of biblical counseling is simply that it's a ministry of graciously applying the truths of the Bible to the challenges of life. Throughout life as believers, we all struggle with sin, to put that off. We all struggle with suffering, either at the hands of others or sometimes simply physical suffering because of ailments and other things that may afflict us. In all of that, God is using those things to conform us to the image of Christ. He's using that we can glorify Him with our lives as we turn to Him, and we understand this through the scriptures and what they tell us. A more complete definition is that biblical counseling is that active process in which believers or a group of believers lovingly confront and scripturally approach either a sinning or a suffering fellow believer for the purpose of effecting God-glorifying change. The purpose of biblical counseling is that we would be changed, that we would glorify God, that we would be conformed more to the image of Christ, that we would look more like Jesus as we grow in our sanctification, as we grow in our holiness throughout our lives. Biblical counseling can be preventive or it can be restorative. It can be preventive in the same way that a sermon, which is the public ministry of the Word, has practical application and tells us and prepares us how to respond and how to deal with things in life. It can be restorative in the sense of the private ministry of the Word, where we come individually as we suffer and as we're in the midst of suffering, and know again how it is that we can glorify God, how we can respond, that we understand what the scriptures say. Martin Luther often said that biblical counseling is a matter of understanding God more in our relationship to Him. This kind of counseling envisions transformation. It envisions that we change, that we grow, that we become more mature. And it's a transformation of the heart. It's not a matter of dealing or changing our circumstances so much as changing our heart so that we can come closer to God in all of our circumstances. In everything, we want to grow in a way in which we become more conformed to the image of Christ. That's the goal of biblical counseling.
I no longer fear the grave. Christ has come, took the sting of death away. Through His saving blood, though my body fails and my flesh grows weak, till my final breath to this hope